Good morning, everyone. Just let's wait 1 2 minutes to get everyone on the line and everyone prepared for this webinar. The topic we are going to cover today is extremely important. From my point of view, it's becoming more important every year. People are getting more cautious about different opportunities and different services, and we are overwhelmed with information. So standing out from the competition is getting more and more important, and at the same time more difficult as well. So we are getting people to join. So as I said to some people who were already on the line a minute ago, so let's wait a minute or so to get started. The topic that we are covering today is extremely important, and we can see that competition is growing dependent on the industry or the geolocation you're in. So getting standing out from the crowd and being different than competition is extremely important. And today we are going to cover in how to do that, especially using the tools that Leadoo has to offer. So last time we had a session where we were covering like why does Leadoo exist and why is it so important to create personalized journeys. And my name is Mika Costa, and I'm one of the founders of Leadoo, currently running our product team, which consists of roughly 20 people, in making sure that we offer the best possible solutions to our customers. So what we covered last time was that less than 2% of the website visitors are actually converting. And this is like we as marketeers, we have just like kind of accepted it that okay, 2% convert, but actually we are paying money to get those all people in. Why are we letting 98% of the people just go? I know that buyer journeys are changing, and most of the people who come to your website aren't buying on their first visit. And Marketo actually did a research on this topic where they found out that 96% of the people who land on your website for the first time, they aren't ready to buy. But now, what makes it interesting is that the reason why most of the people aren't ready to buy is that there's so much information available online, and people want to be more cautious of the services and products that they are buying, and they tend to do a lot of research around it. So now again, if we look at people landing on the website, if you are doing a Facebook ad, it might be that you are just getting people aware of the problem. But if people are going to on Google and searching by themselves, they might be essentially already interested or even comparing a service or a product that you are offering to a competitor. Now, the problem that I see happening in today's world is that dependent on which stage of the buying cycle you are in, companies are treating all the website visitors in the exact same way, feeding in different or the same information. Even people would need different information based on the stage that they are in. And what I wanted to share also was one of the biggest learnings that I've personally faced during my marketing career, which was essentially taught to me by my daughter, was that since people many times, they even they would have all the relevant information available, they still tend to reach out to the company that they feel they can relate to them the most, and also to the company that the people feel that I can trust this company. And the bigger the price point of the service or product you are selling, the more important it is that there's the trust. And the experience that I want to share with all of you was an experience that I actually faced 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, we moved from the center of the city to the suburb area to live in a private house. And at the time, my daughter was 3 years old. And the first or the second day that we moved to the new house, she was extremely excited because she saw in the back garden that we had a squirrel there. And me as a very, very like dynamic father was like, okay, great, let's tame the squirrel. It would be great that uh, it would come and eat from our hand. So what I did, I went to the nearest store and I bought some nuts. And I was sure that okay, the squirrel wants those nuts, so let's give it to them. And what basically happened was that when we went to my backyard and I gave those nuts to my daughter and she started walking now to get closer to the squirrel, what the squirrel did was that it immediately climbed up the tree. And essentially, it was very interesting because I knew that the squirrel wanted those nuts. But again, it wasn't ready yet to trust us. So it ran away even we had what he wanted. And what happened was that we left those nuts outside. We went inside, and my daughter was almost as happy when she was watching the squirrel pick up those nuts from the window. But I thought that okay, let's just take a bit of time, and it went maybe 2 weeks that we brought nuts every day, and we in 2 weeks time we could watch outside like 10 meters apart from the squirrel that the squirrel came and picked up those nuts, and we started building the trust. And roughly like in 2 months time the squirrel was already eating from my hand as long as my daughter like stepped maybe 5 feet away, so the squirrel knew that I don't do any like rapid movement. So we did build the trust, and now the squirrel was ready to trust us. And what I see a lot of companies do in their marketing efforts is that they are not they're building the trust and kind of like making the customer feel that we are here for them. And that's what we in a situation where we even knew that our, let's call, prospect wanted exactly what we had to offer, but we still had to do it in stages. And in this area, that's what Leadoo in many ways does, is that what we are trying to do is that we are trying on the first visit to already build the trust with as many people as possible in order to increase the conversion rates as high as we can. And for most companies, we are getting extremely good results by tailoring the whole discussion around the client and serving the clients in their own terms. But still, a lot of people are leaving the website because the buyer journey actually just takes longer. You cannot force the prospect basically to convert immediately. And what we can do is that we can do personalized marketing to keep us on top of mind of the prospect. One of the things that we in today's world, from my point of view, don't consider as well as we could is that if we take Facebook, for example, Facebook has lookalike audiences, they map what are we interested in, etc. Same is what Google does. So once we are able, for example, with a Facebook ad to awaken someone's interest on a specific topic or a solution, we don't always follow through. And I would actually like to ask our audience here today, how many of you are actually doing remarketing for their existing website visitors? Would appreciate the answers because it gives also better context as we go along. Just to confirm, did everyone get the poll? Okay, we can see the first polls coming in. So a lot of companies apparently are doing remarketing. So that's very good to hear. The issue, what I feel that a lot of companies have with remarketing is that dependent on who you are, what you do, remarketing is always done with the same message. And what basically, from my point of view, happens is that even though I, as a visitor, my interest was awakened by a specific company's ad, and they brought me to the interest funnel. And now I'm researching on that topic. And if this company isn't doing remarketing, probably I will end up buying that product or service that I was looking into from someone else. And now the question is like, what can we do about it? Because I'm not sure about you, but personally, I don't have such a wide marketing budget, have never had, and hope probably will never have either, that I could just feed my competitors' lead funnels. And if I look at what can we do different, is that if we look at 2% of people converting on a website in average, with Leadoo, we can increase that probably to 4%. But what we can do with Leadoo is that in average 10 to 30% of your website visitors that see the different type of the interactive content that Leadoo has available actually interacts with them. And the interaction is extremely important because you get a lot of relevant information from your prospects. But what is that relevant information? How can you actually like utilize it in your own marketing actions? So if I look at for example the Leader front page, we have there a bot which asks, are you interested in leads, in happy customer recruitment candidates, something else, or just like playing around? Now, if the person clicks that I'm interested in leads, probably you are a marketeer. Maybe you can be a salesperson as well. But according to studies, over 90% of marketeers feel that leads is the most important like metrics that they are evaluated on. So a lot of marketeers are looking for leads. But are they looking for recruitment candidates? Probably not. So that's a separate like user group, that it could be a recruiter or a HR manager. So very, from my point of view at least, very different type of audiences. Now, if I use the same ad to reach the recruiter and the marketeer again, probably I have an ad that speaks to everyone but doesn't really appeal to anyone. So what you can do with the Leadoo is that we can actually build smart remarketing audiences across different advertising networks that speak to the people on their terms, like bringing up the stuff that is meaningful for them. Now, if we have the recruiter, the recruitment or our remarketing ad could be like, next time that you are having a shortage of candidates, please keep us in mind. And now for the marketeer, it could be, next time your salespeople ask for more leads, remember that Leadoo could help you out. So two completely different messages which are tailored to the potential prospect, but and the solution might be the same, but you are speaking on their terms, which makes it way more appealing. Because now, as we know that this person is looking for chatbots, for example, but we don't know that they are looking for chatbots for recruitment, it could be that all Leadoo's competitors could be offering that type of product as well. But now, as we know specifically what this visitor is interested in, we can make our ads way more appealing. The question that many of you might be asking now, okay, sounds interesting, and we should approach it this way. How do I do that? And that's actually fairly easily done. We've built our solution to be extremely powerful in building these remarketing audiences. How it basically works is that every single button within the Leadoo bots, they have a GTM event included there, and GTM stands for Google Tag Manager. We also send, which we call in tech, called in-page events, which mean that when a person clicks a button, it sends an event on the page, which we can then, as developers, connect to something else. But with Google Tag Manager, basically any marketeer can turn their remarketing to be super personal and very intriguing, engaging for the visitors as well. So now, for example, if someone would click on the button online sales, so as we see it here, we would send a GTM event called e-commerce. And this can be all done without having any technical people involved. So it's very easy to set up as well. And what we would do next is that we would go to Google Tag Manager. We would create a custom event where I would type in the event name, which is e-commerce. And how I would connect it to is then I would create a tag. This is a Facebook remarketing tag that I would start building an audience in Facebook, which is remarketing e-commerce, which is triggered by that specific event on the page. So now, instead of just knowing that someone visited on our page, we can have all the remarketing tailored for the people who are, for example, on the e-commerce industry. And it's not only enough that you set these remarketing funnels, because in most cases, people are looking from Google Analytics, like how is my marketing actually affecting my bottom line? But most of the companies are measuring in Google Analytics only the last touch point, which might give you a completely wrong understanding on your marketing. We built the new Leadoo Advanced Source Insights to actually help companies to understand better, like how do their customer journeys look like, and how does all the different actions that we do in marketing contribute with the bottom line. The whole idea actually came to us pretty much by accident. We created a new product called Leadoo Sales Assistant, and for the first like 1.5 weeks, all the marketing that we did for our new product was done in Facebook. Because it was more like a B2C product. Even Leadoo is on the B2B world, so we tried it out with Facebook. The interesting part was that the first time that I looked at our analytics was that we saw that in average 11% of our conversions were coming from Facebook. Even 100% of our marketing budget was spent in this channel. And I was like, something doesn't make sense. So one of the very powerful things in marketing is also like questioning stuff. And that's what we did. I started questioning, like, how is this possible? Like, people didn't suddenly wake up that Monday that, hey, Leadoo might have launched a new product. Let's go look it for Google, from Google, or let's just type the landing page directly. And we saw that that didn't happen. So the buyer journey must be different. And once we started checking the buyer journey with the Leadoo analytics, was that we saw that people were landing from Facebook. They came back the same day or the next day with direct or Google. And then we were able to understand, like, oh my God, we haven't considered the same way the whole buying journey in this. So then we developed the new Leadoo Source Insights, which allows us to see like which is the best source actually to awaken interest, what in the middle keeps people interested, and what's the last touch that actually converts that visitor into a sales qualified lead. And this actually gives us like a 360 picture on how everything is done. And how I look at it is a bit from the agriculture like perspective. So the first touch is like someone planting the seed. The mid touch is watering it. So keep bringing the client information within your buying framework that allows people to explore the right stuff at the right time in order to keep them still interested and taking them further on the sales funnel. And the last touch is like, what's the last thing that I do in order to get these people converted? And at the same time, something that you should consider, like I see that a lot of companies are not doing any remarketing. They are just getting people interested, and then they let people to kind of like go through the buying journey on themselves. Now, what we've seen with the huge amount of Leadoo customers is that most of the people don't convert on the first visit, and they convert on the second, third, or four visits, or even more. So it only shows that remarketing is extremely important. And if you are not doing the remarketing and following the client throughout the whole funnel, you might be planting a lot of seeds that you never water. And we might all know what happens if you plant a seed and you don't put any water, the plant won't start growing. There's nothing to harvest if there's no seeds planted and there's no water given to the plants. So that's why we built this, so we can actually see like what are the best tools on each stage of the funnel and each session, what brings us the most like immediate results as well. And this all is essentially, it might sound complicated, but in the end of the day, it's very simple. It all comes down to like, what's the ideal micro segment that you want to approach? And what are the specific like dialogues that I need to create on my page so I would be able to create those audiences. And once I created those audiences and started populating them, then the last thing comes down to like, how do I measure that all the action that I'm doing are contributing with the bottom line? And well, I have some questions coming in at the same time. So answering one question from, do you we use Google Analytics UTM parameters to collecting this information? So we can use Google Analytics UTM parameters, but not all of the companies have always them set up. So how we end up approaching that is that we also use referrers. So then it essentially like works even though you wouldn't have the referrers in place. And I will answer another question as well. Like I have a question here asking like, how does this apply on the B2B world where there might be multiple decision makers? Something which I didn't cover fully on this presentation here was how does this apply on the B2B? So we were speaking more, how do we collect data within the bot dialogues? But the Leadoo users that you are here, you know that we have the company identification as well. And within the company identification, we know which company it is, which industry this company is from, what's their revenue size, and how many people work in this company. So we also send an event which is called like new CSP. The new CSP is an event which has these variables inside, which is the industry, headcount, and revenue. So as many of the companies usually approach me that Facebook doesn't work for B2B. I'm I would have agreed probably 6 months ago. But today with the new CSP event, what we can do is that we can do LinkedIn type of remarketing in Facebook where we can actually utilize the company demographics data to create a remarketing audiences. So imagine that you are a company that sells trucks. So you are not interested in all type of people and companies visiting your website. You are interested in logistics companies because they are the most potential for you to do trucks. Now, what many companies do wrong is that they purely create remarketing audiences for every single person who has visited the website. So essentially, instead of taking a huge pile of money and putting it onto the bucket, that actually is relevant for you, you are spreading it all over. So with the new CSP event, now we can do extremely like targeted advertising only to the companies that actually are important to you. And at the same time, as you can do it based on the different type of company sizes and industries, if you serve a huge variety, you don't anymore need to speak on a general level, but you can get pretty in depth to different pain points that you solve in specific industries. And as said, like everything then comes down to analyzing those funnels. And the analyzing of remarketing now, as you probably or many of you, hopefully after this session, will start considering them, will be important to see like out of the 10 actions that you will do, probably three of them will contribute the most. So understanding which are these three actions and how they work within the different type of segments will become like super important. And for all of you, please reach out to your customer success manager. They will help you out to really get all this data available for you. So you will be able to see the different conversion stages and how important remarketing might actually be for you, even without you even realizing that. Got a question, which I think that is fairly relevant as we have new or Leadoo customers and companies that are probably just considering Leadoo. Like, how do we implement this? That we don't have the knowledge. So as Leadoo, we help our clients to set this up. So you don't necessarily need to stay alone. There's no additional fee for us to help you set it up. Of course, you need to run the advertising campaigns, but setting up the micro audiences that you feel that are relevant for your business, we will be there helping you to set all that up so you are not there alone. Another question which actually came earlier, but I'm addressing now. So many companies are afraid, like, how do you measure all of this since there's no cookies available anymore? That's a very, very, very good question. And cookies are going away, so measuring will become harder. Lead tracking works with e-tags, which is a similar way to track users and cookies, but at least for now, all browsers are supporting them, which makes it for us possible to track the users and gives us the whole like customer journey tracking possibility. So at least for now, we and Leadoo customers, at least in terms of data, are safe from there. Another question that just came in was related to which channels does this work on. Many of companies, they do Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, and Google. Those are the main channels. But essentially with Google Tag Manager, you can use this solution across pretty much like any ad network. We can create it in Facebook, Instagram. We can take it to Twitter. It works across a huge bunch of different channels, and we will be there to help set that up. Any other questions that you might have? So now pretty much all the questions that we've got till now. Okay, just got one additional question. So how long does this take to set up, and how quickly can it be utilized? So in Facebook, you need 30 people to start doing remarketing campaigns. But for example, in Google Ads, you will need 1,000 people. So when we create these remarketing audiences, we need to be cautious of the channels as well. When setting this up, we will of course share this information with you in order to get the best impact. But in most channels, you can start generating value within days, maximum within weeks. But fully depends, of course, like how much traffic do you have on your website and how engaging dialogues we are able to have with the people on your website. But the results actually come fairly quickly. What's the most common mistake when setting this up? From my point of view, it comes down to not measuring stuff properly. So now that you create different type of campaigns, it might be that you are from your point seeing that maybe this works, but you are not measuring in terms of conversions. People might visit a specific page, but does it actually make it faster or slower? And with the Leadoo Advanced Insights, we can see that if people come now, for example, from Facebook for the first time to the website, it takes, let's say, 7 days for us to convert them. But if they come from LinkedIn or if they come from Google, they convert in average in 3 days, which is great. And when we look at it from that perspective, now if we are lacking, for example, on our sales or lead target, instead of putting more money in Facebook, even it can contribute on the long term, it might be that instead we need to put it in Google, because it's just much faster to get the results from there, because people are already like further on the sales funnel. And the advanced analytics, it's from Leadoo. It's an add-on, but at the moment we are giving it for all our customers 3 months free of charge. So you are actually able to see what's the impact within a marketing ROI that you are doing with different type of actions. Any other questions that you may have? If there's no other questions, let's end the webinar here. It was a pleasure to have you all attend. Please reach out to me or your customer success manager, and we will help you on the setup that you will be able to start utilizing these benefits in your marketing campaigns. Thank you for joining and have a great Tuesday. Thank you. Bye bye.